Who doesn't love old Mercedes? And this is the W211 E-class in E350, the last model year for this generation, 2009, which means this is also the facelifted version. I think it looks really good in black with the AMG package that we have on this car. When it first came out, I had my doubts about the design of this car with the round headlights. Sort of felt like a smoother version of the previous E-class, but over time I think it's aged really well. So what we're gonna do in this video is have a look at this design from a front end, see what really makes up the facelift of this car, the front, side, rear, the interior, and last but not least, we're gonna check out how well a 15-year-old Mercedes with about 110,000 miles on the clock really drives. The 2009 E350 is powered by a 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6, putting out 270 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. It's all connected to a 7-speed automatic transmission. You got rear-wheel drive, 0 to 60 takes about 6.9 seconds. Top speed 155 miles per hour. Fuel economy comes in at 17 city, 24 highway, and the price for this is $8,999. Now, starting with the front end design of the W211. This, as I said, being the last model year, the facelifted version. And the main reason why I prefer the non-facelift is because there's one single detail in the front. It is the grille. Because with the facelifted version, you see this point down here gets a lot pointier. In the pre-facelift, this was a lot smoother. You also got a new bumper, new bi-xenon headlights for the 2009 facelift. I think it was facelift in 2006 forward. Got the bi-xenon, and this one also has the beautiful AMG package, meaning a different front bumper here, making it a little bit more aggressive. The W211 was in production from 2002 to 2009, and I remember when the first pre-facelift first came out. Actually, there was a spy photo, and it was on the set of a Men in Black movie in Soho, New York. And I saw the side view of it. I thought it looked very cool. I hadn't seen the front end or the rear end, but the proportions definitely felt like an evolution of the previous generation E-class. Like how smooth everything got in this generation E-class. It just looks very cool. And as I said, I feel like this design is aging very well. I like the design here with the hood design lines cutting in here, going into the A-pillar, and then having this sculpture on the front headlights following into the surfacing of the hood. Now, coming around to the side view of the W211 E-class, very bubbly design. I think this is probably the first E-class that really got that soft design that we still have in today's cars. And I also love that we do have the 18-inch AMG wheels here. These are definitely the wheels that you want to go with for this specific vehicle. They just change the overall stance and the looks of this car, making it look a lot more sportier than if you were to go with some more elegant looking wheels. Now, this was an era in general of car design in the mid-2000s where we didn't really have a lot of sharp lines in the body. A lot of things got a lot smoother, and that happened here as well. You can see the shoulder line, just how smooth it is. You do have a little bit of a sharp line here that then fades into the front fender, and I do love how Mercedes has the hood going up from this shoulder line in the front end. It just looks beautiful overall, and this is one of these cars, again, if you just switch up some of the graphic designs of this car, it would probably be a pretty decent looking modern car in 2024. Now, coming around to the rear end of this E-class, and once again, the three-quarter rear end is going to be my favorite view for this specific car. It just has that Mercedes-ness to it. You can see that it has some higher class to it. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's the 18 AMG wheels. I also love the graphics here. Also an evolution of the previous generation, which had, actually the E-class of the previous had these almost horizontal lights like this, rounded in the corners, but these have still the triangular designs. But again, this being the mid-2000s, we got to round stuff out, and that's exactly what happened here. One detail I've always loved for German cars of this era is this, how they designed the end point of the trunk with this very sharp end point right here. Creates a nice ending for the overall design of the car. And you can see that we do have the facelifted version here, of course, as well, since it is the facelifted version 2009, facelift in the front, also facelift in the back, meaning that we do have these new taillights. And I think this is the only One of the details in the back that I don't like about the facelifted version, I do think I prefer the pre-facelift. It just had a much more classier design when it comes to the internal pieces of the taillights. All the way down here, you can see that we do have the AMG tailpipes down here, adding some sportiness to this design. And I think it actually suits it to have a splash of chrome, or a little, a hair in there with some bit of chrome pieces onto this design, because it is, after all, a Mercedes. And that, in combination with the black exterior AMG wheels, it just creates a very nice package. Now, this being a luxury sedan, we do need to have some proper trunk space, and that comes for the W211 E-class as well. You have pretty decent amount of space back here. Nothing really crazy going on. Some nets on the sides, floor mats in here as well. If you open this up, let's see what's underneath here. You do have even more storage underneath the floor itself. So proper storage for the 2009 E-class. Let's check out the interior of the 2009 Mercedes E350 W211. It is a beautiful place to be, and let's fire this up. Get some of that air blowing a little bit, cool down. And as you can see here, power adjusted, power tilting, telescoping steering wheel, beautiful. Gotta move it a little closer to myself. So you can see that the exterior design here comes back in. For the exterior design comes back in the interior with all these fluid motions that we have. This entire dash is just one big wave of surfacing with all the features integrated on top, flush with the surface. And I really like how this looks. We have soft touch material up top, some wood grain here, which I think suits the E-class overall. Glove box down here with some ashtray, I do believe this is, or maybe it's just a small little compartment for whatever small little coins or keys that you have. Up top here, we do have a couple of vents. Very easy to adjust these vents. Fan speed and the climate control settings are all controlled on top. Usually they sit down here, but in this E-class, the climate settings are located up top next to the gauge cluster, which is pretty interesting. Fan speed, all buttons and dials for the temperature here as well. Beautifully laid out, 2-zone climate settings in this car. Down here, you do have a small little infotainment screen. Honestly, if we go back to screens like this, I would not mind that at all. The sizing for it, although yes, the technology is a little outdated, obviously, this being a 15-year-old car. You have radio and nav buttons here, phone buttons as well. You have a phone keypad here. Now, all the way down here are some more buttons, for example, to fold the rear seat headrest. Now, this is a very cool button because this controls the rear curtain for the rear window. So press this one. You can see how it goes up back there. Very, very cool. 3 levels of heated seats here, and the gear selector. Very simple. We're in park right now, putting it into reverse. You're not gonna have a backup camera. Back in 2009, it just didn't happen. Neutral and drive. If you want to, you can shift manually by going into drive and then moving this to the left is downshift, upshift. Very strange, not something that I would use ever in this car. I would always have it in automatic. You also have the pedals here on the steering wheel if you want to use those. I kind of like this wood grain here. Usually I'm not a fan of wood inside of cars, but again, I keep thinking this is a Mercedes E-class, meaning that a little bit of chrome, a little bit of wood just feels about right in this car. Now, all the way back here, more wood. We can open this up and you can see that we do have some storage here. And that's about it. Not huge storage, it's very thin as well, so let's close that back down. The center armrest is decently comfortable. It's not the most comfortable armrest I've ever felt in my life because it doesn't really have any padding up here. You're just resting on the piece of wood here. Now, looking at these seats here, these seats, I have to say, this has 108,900 miles on it. And these seats, they look brand new. I can't see anywhere at all on these. It's absolutely fantastic how well these seats have held up over time, and they also very comfortable, a bit sporty because you do have some proper bolstering here on the sides, and they're also of course power adjustable with this little chair that we have on the door itself. Now, this being the facelifted version, meaning that we do have a different steering wheel than the pre-facelift, and I definitely prefer this steering wheel here. It just modernizes the entire interior. You have the buttons for the volume here on the right side. and the phone as well, which I don't think anybody's going to use today. And on the left side here, you can toggle between some different settings for the little screen that you have within the speedometer there, and also have the Bluetooth ready here if you want to switch that up with these buttons on the left. Beautiful design for the steering wheel, classic interior. I love this generation of Mercedes, and pretty much every other brand as well, just the early 2000s to 2015. I think that's the golden era for interiors when it comes to car design. On the left side of the steering wheel, you do have the controls for the lights, the headlights. And up top, we have a sunroof that you can open up if you want to. Just click this button right here. I'm for now gonna keep it closed because it's gonna get a little too hot in here. But overall, what a fantastic interior this is. I mean, there are cars and then there are Mercedeses. And I think Mercedes always have a special feel to them when you step into them, even if they're 15 years old. So let's check out the back seat and let me see if I can fit behind my own driving position. All right, so let's check out the back seat here. First of all, beautiful AMG 18-inch wheels, 5-spoke design. I absolutely love the wheel design on this car. Let's jump in here, me being 6'1", 6'2", and I have absolutely zero problems fitting behind my own driving position. Beautiful wood here as well. Door handle feels solid. Windows, everything just, it has a special touch to it. It looks like you have a curtain here as well, which you can bring up some more shade if you want to. Down here you have 2 vents. That's about it for the center here. Let's see if we have some cup holders here. If you fold this down, you do have some sort of complexion here. I'm not entirely sure what this is. But if we fold this down, here we have the cup holder. So this is a very, very German armrest here for the center. And it feels a little bit over-engineered, but still, you have everything you need in here. Okay, setting off in the 2009 Mercedes E350, and the first thing you notice is just the heaviness of the steering wheel. It just feels so solid. The whole chassis just feels like it's sitting heavy on the ground. That is what I love about Mercedes is in general. They just have this special feel to them. 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 under the hood, 270 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. And it still runs very, very smoothly. 110, almost 1,000 miles on this thing, and it still runs like a dream. And I love that I can see the star up ahead on the hood there. Just makes it feel even more special. The fact that this car drives this well after this many years and this many miles just shows you Mercedes build quality. It still feels like we're floating down the road here. Minimal noises from the 3.5 liter V6 as well. We have 7-speed automatic in this one, 0 to 60 in about 6.8, 6.9 seconds. Not the quickest car, but again, that's not what this is about. If you want the quick one, you got to go with the E55 AMG. However, this one is still all rear-wheel drive. The gauges are just beautiful here as well. Love the silver, the font, the white with the background with the black font of the numbers. It's just a very classy looking gauge cluster. This to me is sort of the perfect daily driver. It's classy, elegant. You still have plenty of power, not too bad with 270 horsepower. There we go. So yeah, it's not the fastest Mercedes ever, but you know, still, you're just wrapped in this luxury when it comes to the interior and also how this car feels on the road. As I said before, it just feels like a tank, a luxurious tank. You can feel the weight of this car, and that is that special Mercedes feeling. I do like the sound of the V6 as well. This is a car that I don't necessarily want to have be super loud. It's not what this car is about. That's the AMG style. But if you want a more subtle, relaxing experience, then this one is the one to go with. Just take it off here from a red light. No stress, no worries. Silky smooth. Beautiful. Man, I could honestly drive this car forever. It's so comfortable. These seats, I mean, just look at these seats. Looks like no one ever sat, specifically in the passenger seat. I haven't really looked at the driver's seat, but I don't see any sort of wear on the leather in here. Quality stuff from Mercedes. Exactly what you would expect, of course. Step it on it a little bit here. And we're up to 45 there. I know I've said this before, but I don't know. I just like older cars so much better than modern cars. I've said this when I just filmed the Volvo S80 just an hour ago or so, that when you're at a standstill like this, you can feel the engine rumbling, or you can feel the vibration in the car. It just feels good to know that there actually is something underneath the hood. Overall, the Mercedes E350 from 2009, last generation of the W211, overall is just a fantastic car. Even with 108,000 miles on it, drives like brand new. I can't find any faults in here except for this vent is a little broken, but that's basically it's fantastic car for this type of price that you're paying for these cars today. Huge thanks to European Auto House again for providing this car for me to review for you guys today. Go check out this car and their entire inventory at europeanautohouseco.com. I'm gonna link it down in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.